You've been ambushed before, not by fists or fury, but by words sharpened like blades. A calm conversation suddenly shifts, and before you realize it, you're bleeding on the inside. No yelling, no chaos, just a tone, a smirk, a twist of language that cuts your confidence open. This is not coincidence, it's psychological warfare. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If someone has the power to make you angry, you have handed them your mind." Most people live that quote every day, at work, at home, online. They hand over their peace like a coin tossed into someone else's hand. The Stoics understood this centuries ago. Every exchange is a battlefield. The wise do not fight for victory, they fight for control of the self. So understand this truth, every verbal ambush is a test, not of intellect, but of composure, and those who fail lose long before they realize the fight has begun. The first strike of manipulation doesn't come with anger, it comes with distortion. The aggressor repeats your words, but with a twist, bending your meaning until you're forced to defend what you never said. You might say, "I believe everyone is responsible for their own emotions," and they shoot back, "So you don't care about other people's feelings." That's not dialogue, it's entrapment, and the weak fall for it every time, rushing to justify themselves, lowering their authority with every explanation. The Stoic doesn't defend, he clarifies. When someone misrepresents you, stop, breathe, then calmly reclaim your ground. No, what I'm saying is, clarity is your shield, composure is your sword. You do not owe emotional reactions to twisted words. You owe yourself truth. Remember Epictetus, it's not things that disturb us, but our judgment of them. The Stoic separates emotion from logic and turns distortion into stillness. Control begins where reaction ends. This one is more dangerous because it hides beneath politeness. It's not a question, it's a verdict disguised as curiosity. Why are you always so selfish? When did you stop caring? The trap is buried inside the wording. It assumes guilt before you can even speak. And when you rush to defend yourself, "I'm not selfish," you've already lost. Because you accepted their frame. Stoics never fight inside another person's frame. They expose it. You don't argue the accusation, you reveal the trick. You slow down and say, "What makes you think that?" Or, "What do you mean by selfish?" That single move flips the power dynamic. You force the manipulator to clarify, and in doing so, you remove their control. Remember Marcus Aurelius, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." When someone builds a lie into their words, you do not play defense. You dismantle the foundation. The calm question is deadlier than the emotional reply. This tactic is pure chaos disguised as logic. The manipulator merges two unrelated ideas into one sentence, forcing you to defend both. You're irresponsible and dishonest. You're too confident and arrogant. They blend truth with poison, so you choke on both. The goal? Confuse you until you fight shadows. The Stoic does not swallow mixed words. He separates them like a surgeon. He says, irresponsible. In what way? Dishonest? No. Clarify that. When you split the fusion, you break the spell, Seneca warned. The greatest weapon of the manipulator is haste. The greatest defense of the wise is precision. The Stoic slows down what the aggressor speeds up. He separates ideas, identifies illusions, and exposes exaggeration, because confusion only controls those who rush. When you refuse to react and instead dissect, the manipulator loses their advantage. Control returns to the one who questions, not the one who shouts. Calmness isn't passivity, it's psychological dominance. This one feels like a storm. They speak faster than you can think, hitting you with question after question, accusation after accusation, until your mind scrambles for footing. It's not a conversation, it's a barrage. The tactic is simple: overwhelm you, confuse you, then make you say something careless. The Stoics' response is equally simple. Slow everything down. When they fire questions, you pick one. You say, "Let's start with your first point." You reclaim the tempo, and in doing so, you reclaim the room. Marcus Aurelius said, "If they can control your pace, they control your mind. So don't let them." The Stoic breathes before he speaks. He answers one question at a time. He turns noise into silence, chaos into order. Remember this rule: the faster they talk, the calmer you become, because the one who controls time controls power. When you master the rhythm, you stop dancing to their tune. You make them move to yours. This is where verbal combat turns psychological. The manipulator doesn't challenge your logic. They corrupt your frame. You say, silence can be strength. And they reply, so you believe ignoring problems is wise. They twist the meaning until your principle sounds like weakness. That's how they trap you, by redefining the ground beneath your feet. But the Stoic never fights on borrowed ground. He stands outside the frame. He says calmly, that's not what I mean, and stops there. No defense. No debate, no emotional tug of war. Seneca wrote, he who angers you conquers you. He who reframes you owns your voice. Don't let anyone dictate what your words mean. Clarify once, then be silent. Silence, in this case, is defiance with discipline. In ancient Rome, philosophers debated with poise, never volume, because they knew truth doesn't shout. It stands still. When you refuse to be cornered, your composure becomes your fortress, and their manipulation collapses against it. This tactic doesn't aim to defeat you. It aims to lead you, quietly, into agreeing with your opponent. The manipulator redirects your logic until you end up validating their point without realizing it. They say, so, you're saying your freedom is more important than respect, hoping you'll stumble and surrender your stance. The Stoic doesn't resist, he redirects back. He says, true freedom is respect for truth, for thought, for self. He turns their weapon into wisdom. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the obstacle is the way. Every manipulative statement is an obstacle, so use it as a path. When they twist your words, twist the energy back toward truth. When they accuse, respond with insight. The Stoic never wrestles in mud. He guides the fight to higher ground. Real power isn't about winning the argument. It's about dissolving it with clarity so complete that the aggressor's fury has nowhere to go. Calm intelligence always wins in the end. Most people think verbal defense means fighting back. It doesn't. It means revealing the truth so clearly that manipulation can't survive in the light. The Stoic doesn't argue, he clarifies. He doesn't shout, he defines. Clarity disarms chaos. When someone distorts your words, you don't mirror their emotion. You mirror their logic back to them, calmly, directly. No, what I mean is, those 5 words build walls around your peace. Every explanation that comes from calmness restores your authority. Epictetus warned, when you are provoked, know that it is your judgment that provokes you. The Stoic practices this daily. He trains his tongue to serve truth, not pride. He sees speech as a mirror of the mind. If your words are chaotic, your mind is too. That's why clarity is more than communication. It's self-mastery made audible. The one who defines reality defines power. Speak clearly, or be defined by those who twist your silence into weakness. In the heat of verbal conflict, most people lose themselves trying to be understood. The Stoic does the opposite. He chooses stillness over struggle. Stillness is not silence born of fear. It's silence born of command. When someone throws bait, the weak bite, the strong observe. Marcus Aurelius said, you always own the option of having no opinion. That's the shield. When you refuse to react, you deny the aggressor oxygen. You make their performance meaningless. Stillness turns chaos into echo. Try this when attacked. Pause before replying. Count to 3. Feel the storm pass through your mind without letting it anchor. That pause is power, the space between stimulus and response where discipline lives. The Stoic knows that what feels like victory and reaction is actually defeat in disguise. The loudest man in the room is usually the one who lost control first. Stay calm. Stay quiet. Let their noise prove your strength. Words are not just sounds. They are signals of control. Every careless word weakens your command. Every precise one sharpens it. The Stoic knows that speech, like a blade, must be used with discipline. Say less. Mean more. Speak only after your thoughts have settled, not while your emotions are boiling. Seneca wrote, better to trip with the feet than with the tongue. The manipulator thrives on emotional blur. The Stoic destroys confusion with precision. As an attacked, don't defend everything. Address only what's real. Strip away exaggeration, expose distortion, and leave only fact. The result, their drama collapses, because manipulation cannot survive clarity. Each word you speak with intention builds credibility, authority, and calm dominance. You don't speak to win approval. You speak to preserve integrity. The tongue of a Stoic is not a weapon of destruction, but of control. And the more measured your words become, the more unshakable your presence feels. Every manipulator has one hidden weapon: speed. They speak faster than you can think, pushing you to react instead of reason. But the Stoic understands, whoever controls the tempo controls the battlefield. The wise slow everything down. When the aggressor rushes, you breathe slower. When they talk louder, you lower your tone. This shift breaks their rhythm and restores your mind's order. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "Be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved, and the raging of the sea falls still around it." That's not just poetry, it's a method. You slow the moment so your mind can lead. Slowness is not weakness, it's mastery. The one who rushes reveals fear. The one who moves slowly reveals power. In a world addicted to reaction, your patience becomes intimidation. The manipulator's greatest frustration is your refusal to match their chaos. Slow down and watch how fast their control disappears. Before you ever speak, your body has already said everything. The Stoic knows this. The way you breathe, the way you hold your shoulders, the stillness in your eyes, these are all declarations of dominance without aggression. Manipulators look for weakness in posture. They sense tension, restlessness, insecurity. That's why your first line of defense isn't verbal. It's physical composure. Stand straight, breathe slow, hold eye contact without hostility. Seneca wrote, "A man who is calm has already conquered his greatest enemy, himself." Your posture tells others that you don't chase validation. You command space. When your body is still, your energy becomes undeniable. You don't need to prove you're confident. You radiate it through silence. This is why Stoics intimidate without aggression. They've mastered the art of calm presence. Every inch of stillness tells the world, "I am unmoved." Control your posture, and your body becomes your loudest statement of power. The weak see insult as injury. The Stoic sees it as data. Every attack reveals the attacker's insecurity. Every provocation exposes what they fear losing. When someone tries to humiliate you, don't absorb it, observe it. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." The Stoic doesn't fight poison with poison. He studies it until it loses power. When someone calls you selfish, you ask, why does that bother them? When someone mocks your calm, you realize they envy what they cannot control. Every insult is free education in human weakness. The Stoic reframes pain into understanding. He doesn't say, "Why is this happening to me?" He says, "What is this teaching me?" That mindset is invincible. Because when life throws venom, you don't spit back. You distill it into wisdom. The more people attack you, the more they unknowingly train you to master yourself. Their hostility becomes your sharpening stone. Most people only see what their emotions allow. They react not to reality, but to their interpretation of it. The Stoic pierces through that fog. He sees not just the words spoken, but the motive behind them. When someone attacks you, ask yourself, what are they trying to gain? Respect, control, validation. Once you see their intent, the emotion loses its bite. Epictetus taught, when you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. Then you will forget your anger. This is not self-blame, it's self-awareness. The Stoic trains his perception to look deeper, past the noise, past the insult, into the psychology behind it. He sees patterns, not problems. He studies behavior, not words. And by doing so, he never takes the bait. The wise are calm because they see the game from above. Emotion narrows your vision. Philosophy expands it. When you see clearly, you stop being controlled. At the core of Stoicism lies one unbreakable law. Control begins and ends with you. The manipulator's greatest illusion is to make you think your peace depends on their behavior. It doesn't. You can't control their tone, their words, or their ego, but you can control your focus. Your breathing, your reaction, that's where your power lives. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The Stoic refuses to hand over that power, no matter how sharp the insult or how unfair the attack. He knows that to react impulsively is to surrender the throne of his own mind. When someone provokes you, remember this truth. They can start the fire, but only you can feed it. Control your flame, and you control your fate. No argument, no manipulation, no voice can dominate a mind that governs itself. The final mastery of Stoic communication isn't found in clever comebacks or rhetorical brilliance. It's found in silence, the kind that unnerves aggressors and commands respect. Silence is the moment when ego dies and power begins. It is not retreat, it's ascension above the game itself. Epictetus said, when someone insults you, remember that they do so because they think it is right. It is their opinion. It need not become yours. That's the secret. The The Stoic refuses to take emotional ownership of another person's storm. He lets their noise echo in its own emptiness. True discipline is to stay calm when you could destroy, to remain silent when you could humiliate, and to smile when provoked. Silence is not submission, it's proof that you have nothing left to prove. When you no longer need to win, you've already won. And that is the Stoic's final victory, the quiet strength of the one who has conquered himself. When you understand these Stoic principles, you begin to see that true power isn't found in domination or revenge. It's found in mastery of yourself. The words of others can't wound you unless you hand them the blade. Every moment of conflict, every insult, every manipulation is a chance to practice strength, composure, and clarity. That's how the Stoic wins, without shouting, without rage, without ego. Because when you conquer your reactions, you conquer your life. So take this message with you today. Start practicing calm in chaos, clarity in confusion, and silence in noise. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear how you'll apply this in your own life. If this message spoke to you, gently like the video, share it with someone who needs this reminder, and subscribe to the channel to walk this Stoic path with us. Thank you for listening. This is Stoic Psychology, where strength begins within